Chris Royal says, I feel like if we can't land Watson or Rodgers, if available, we should stick with Jimmy and draft a quarterback who potentially could take the lead if he struggles.
I don't think you can stick with Jimmy G. I think he counts too much against the cap, which would inhibit you from signing other players. To me, you got to rip the Band-Aid off. If you can't trade him, you just got to rip the Band-Aid off and sign Fitzpatrick. And
here's why you can't stay with Jimmy G, because they can't afford another losing season. Kyle, you can't have 4 losing seasons in 5 years. And if you bring back Jimmy G, there's a very big possibility that he gets hurt again. And they've shown they can't win with their backups. So right. I think it's really important that they get a starting quarterback who can play 16 games. Starting quarterback, 16 games.
Yeah.
So
availability.
Yeah. I mean, if that's Fitzpatrick, if that's Dalton, if that's Wentz, Carr, whoever, Shanahan seems like he's good enough to win. He just needs a starting quarterback who's healthy. Is that so much to ask? Usually starting quarterbacks are healthy. Really? I mean, all the rules protect them, dude. They're not allowed to touch you.
And the thing about it, it's not the same injury. There's all different. Like first when he was in New England, wasn't it his shoulder? Was it a shoulder injury? Right. Then it was the ACL, and the ACL was preventable because he made a bad decision.
He cut back.
Right. Yeah. Now that's ankle. So there's definitely something to it there. He gets injured too much. Thank you. Not for $27 million either.
No, I would bring in a Bridge, draft a quarterback. A Bridge, I think Fitzpatrick would be terrific. I saw him in person this year. It's way better than Jimmy G. He's faster. He's more daring. He's more aggressive. Andy Dalton, I'd be cool. Any 1-year deal, any guy for like 1 year, $4 million, I'd be cool with that. And then I really think Rodgers is going to be available next year. I think that's going to come to a head. It almost came to a head this year, but next year there's an out in his contract. They have Jordan Love. Unless they're willing to extend his deal, which they haven't been willing to do, I think they're going to have to move him next year, and the Niners should be waiting for that one.
If something doesn't happen now, like let's say with Watson or something like that, I think Watson's really the only one that's kind of available right now, even though it's not. Or I would expect them probably to sign a veteran in free agency, and then probably draft a quarterback, and then take a look at what happens on June 1. Because remember, June 1 is going to be a big date this year. A lot of free agents will be cut. A lot of guys are going to be moved. So they might.
It's going to be the second wave of free agency.
Yeah, it's going to be it's going to be free agency number 2. And so a guy like Wentz might be available at that time. A guy like Matt Ryan might be available at that time. And Rodgers might be available at that time. Which at that point, then the Niners can make and pounce on an opportunity.
So if you were John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, would your game plan be pump up Jimmy for the next 5 months, say how much you like him, and then by June 1, hope you can be opportunistic with some of these guys becoming available, and maybe people bought it that you said you liked him for 5 months?
My game plan would actually be pump him up until right before free agency.
Okay.
And then cut him in, because you need that money, because if you're not gonna trade,
I see. So it's a bluff. It's a bluff.
To me,
you bluff it, and then free agent starts like, okay, I cut you. You're out. I tried.
Because what you're gonna let Trent Williams and Jason Verrett walk because you want to pump up and get some value back for Jimmy G. To me, I'd rather be able to at least sign at least Verrett to come back with that extra money and cut him now. I mean, that's to me, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the league kind of knows what Jimmy G is, and what we just talked about. The league has seen that he doesn't play in games. He's injury prone. Why would you want to trade for that?
And that's why he has less value than Goff.
Absolutely. I think if he hadn't played well these last couple of years, he'd have a lot more trade value, because people would think, oh, I can fix that. But
you can't fix injury prone.
No, you can't.
T-Money Sacktown says, bring Alex Smith back to San Francisco. I love the idea. I just think he's going to keep getting hurt. We're talking about Jimmy being hurt. This guy couldn't play in the playoff game. He couldn't play.
Yeah, I liked the idea a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Then he got hurt again, and no.
I don't think so.